Bonjour, Ginawa. This is Chi Maingan, and you're listening to the Middle of the Res Road podcast. And today's guest is Ray Bauche, who is a laborer with Whitebird Services, and he's going to give you a behind-the-scenes look of the day in the life of a tradesman. Bonjour, Ginawa. Chi Maingan Indigo. Nagachi Wanang and Dunjaba. And you're listening to the Middle of the Res Road podcast in collaboration with the Minnesota Tribal Contractors Council. This show is designed to promote the economic development of the trade industries in Minnesota and be the source of information about industry job opportunities, success stories, trainings, and upcoming projects for Native Americans. Here we also hold space to share our stories through language and culture as the core of our identities. Welcome to the Middle of the Res Road. Good afternoon. This is Chi Maingan with the Middle of the Res Road podcast, and I'm sitting here with Ray Bauche with Whitebird Services, and also with us in the studio is Morgan Fritzinger. Good afternoon,
Hi.
Morgan.
I'm so excited to hear what Ray has to say today, and I appreciate your involvement, Chi Maingan. I'm sure all of our followers already know that I'm not much of a talker, so I'm just going to sit back and listen. That's what I'm best at.
Well, you called me and you called the right person.
Yeah, I did.
So I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to come in and sit in on the Middle of the Res Road podcast. I've been a long time listener and one time guest. I've been in the hot seat where Ray is sitting. But now I'm on the flip side of that coin. So before we get started, Ray, let's just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Ray Bauche. I grew up on Lake Vermillion Reservation. Been in a labor union for the last 5 years, almost 5 years, a little over 4 years. I got a couple kids, 24-year-old daughter. She's a special ed teacher, and I got a 10-year-old son. Yes, family is everything to me. Yes, I don't know what else.
I think being Ojibwe and Anishinaabe, when you say that family is everything to you, I think that rings true for all of us, growing up in the Native American communities. And you said you grew up on Lake Vermillion?
Yep.
How long you been away from Lake Vermillion now that you're here in Duluth?
Well, I joined Whitebird Services 2 years ago, and I moved to Duluth because the labor union had all my jobs down here in Duluth. So when I got onto Whitebird, I just moved to Duluth, and Whitebird, they're like, "Oh, well, we got a job for you. We're going to send you up to the Iron Range."
Back to your old hood.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll drive back and forth. It was good, though. I liked it. It was an hour drive every day. Drive down Highway 4, through the woods and whatnot. But yeah, so they sent me up there, worked up there for a few months, and then we started on pipeline work. So
okay,
and then I was good. Then I was like, all right.
So, about when did you start with Whitebird Services? You said a couple of years now.
Almost 2 years ago. We started. Maybe it was June of 22, 23. Yeah, 23.
How'd you hear about Whitebird Services?
Well, I was in dewatering. I worked for Henkel and McCoy during the 2022 summer 2022, and my cousin. Well, actually, I got hired. The labor union put me out there, and the crew I was on. This guy was like, I went to work, did the orientation, went for a shift. And this guy was like, "Oh, well, we don't need you." I was ready to go to work that day. My cousin was going to give me a ride. And I told my cousin Joel, and I was like, "Damn, they just laid me off. Like, I didn't even work for 2 days. And they laid me off." He was like, "No way." He put a call into somebody. I think he called Derek Weir. So Derek made a couple phone calls and told me to go back to work. He's like, "Hell no, you're gonna go back to work." He's like, I didn't hear anything about no layoffs. So that's how I met with Derek, and then I went back to work, met Derek. And yeah, eventually they said they were talking about the company starting up, and I told them I wanted to be a part of it.
So when you
'Cause
talk about the company, you're talking about Whitebird
Whitebird,
Services.
yeah, about
Yeah.
Whitebird
Okay.
Services. And even when we were in the mines too, the foreman up there was like that. He's like, "Oh, that's a good company. They're growing. They're a growing company. They're probably going to be big. So it's something you should be proud to be a part of." So today I'm a part of it.
Right. And
Yeah.
we were talking, before the show started, and you're gonna go up back up north.
Yeah.
What kind of role are you gonna play there when you talk about going back up north, and especially within the infrastructure of Whitebird Services?
Well, when we're at New Range Copper Nickel, that's where I first started with Whitebird. Um, we just did some maintenance work, built some berms, and fixed some roads, did some clearing and stuff up there. But I just recently had lunch with Josh, and this was just a couple of weekends ago, and he informed me that I was gonna be a foreman when I go back up there. So
Ooh.
I was pretty excited about it. Uh, I don't know. I don't mind the drive up there. I
Yeah.
mean, it'd be nice to be the foreman on a pipeline. Don't get me wrong, but but he said that too. He's like, "Oh, well, we'll figure out what to do with you up there." And he's like, "But it sounds like it's gonna be permanent. Like Whitebeard's gonna be up there permanently
Okay.
in the mines."
So you're looking at being the foreman. Do you know what size crew you're gonna be in charge of or anything like that? No details.
I didn't really ask him. The crew we had up there was pretty small. We had like a couple operators, um, a couple laborers. Myself was a laborer, and then um, oh yeah, that's when I first got hollered at by Derek too, because one of our laborers didn't pass a drug test. So I was like, oh, I know somebody, and I put like a few names in a hat, like a couple of my relatives, and they never passed drug tests or whatever. And one day he's like, man, you better get somebody down there, right away, Ray. I was like, so I called one of my cousins. She just recently passed away. But I called her up. I was like, "Hey, can you pass a drug test?" And so she went, passed the drug test, came, started working in the mines with me. But yeah, she passed away just recently in a car accident.
You wanna talk about that a little bit, Ray? What had happened? We have a little bit of background. You're talking about the hit and run that was up
Yeah, yep, yep,
in the community up there.
yep.
You wanna, I guess, touch base a little bit of what you know?
Well, what I know is she was walking home from her sister's house. I don't know exactly the details of how she ended up walking. I imagine her car went in a ditch or something. I'm not too sure about it, but she ended up walking and she got hit just like at the entrance of the casino down there. It was a hit and run. Dude took off. Um, yeah, it was a tragic call that night. I had like a few relatives calling me that night, like,
Right.
and I don't usually answer the phone in the middle of the night, but when you have a relative calling you repeatedly, and then
Mhm.
another one calls you repeatedly, and then another one, then I knew something was wrong.
Almost,
So
it almost tipping you
yeah,
off, like,
yeah,
I gotta take this call and see what's
yeah,
going on,
yeah,
this happened, right around Christmas, which
yeah,
I'm sure was
yeah,
hard for yourself and the family, and, you stuck your arm out for her to come on over and work and pass that drug test, and I understand she's had a few years of sobriety under her
yeah,
belt already,
yeah,
and, which was good for not only the community, but also for, you reaching out and getting her that job,
Well,
Uh,
yeah, and that's another thing and she loved working for Whitebird, like, because she was working blackjack at the time, and they just cut her hours, and she always told me, she's like, "Oh, you called me at the perfect time,"
Really
Mhm.
she's
perfect
like,
timing,
yeah,
huh?
she's like, "Perfect time," like, I didn't know what I was gonna do, and and even after work, we worked on the same crew all year long, like, I mean, we had good times, we'd bump heads because we're related, so
How long she
she
worked for Whitebird Services?
she, just the same amount of time as me.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
same
Wow.
exact amount
so
of time. I worked probably a month longer than her.
so you were on for a month and you were like, "I got somebody,"
Yeah, I know
and
somebody because, yeah, like I said, my nephew was supposed to come. He never showed up. My brother, couldn't make it to Cloquet to get a drug test, and one of my nieces failed or something like.
Yeah. And
So I was
then
like,
she answered the call.
yeah,
And
she answered the call, drove right to the shop and took a UA and started work a couple days later.
so I imagine she played a huge role within the company and working alongside with you too, huh?
Oh
And
yeah, definitely. She was a good worker. She was a tough worker.
was she a laborer too?
She
Like,
was laborer too. I mean, at first I was like, I don't know if she was going to be up to this kind of work, but once we got onto the pipeline and started doing, she was just,
pulling her own
yeah,
day in and day out, huh?
yeah.
When you guys were on the pipeline, what was a typical day? When did you guys start? When would you guys finish? And
Well, we usually met up in the parking lot about 6:30. Everyone's usually there. It doesn't start till 7. Jump in the trucks, tease the women a little bit, But yeah, it's it was fun. We were all like family, and not just all the employees were like family. We were around each other so much that we could joke with each other. Like
Mhm.
I worked with a crew of all women, like all the laborers were women, and they're far worse than
They
men.
gang up, they
Like
gang
when
up on you,
when they
or what?
joke, when they joke and stuff, like I was like, man, if they had an HR department. And there were some of them that were just like, oh my God, I can't even say it on here.
Can't
It was
even-
so bad. Yeah, but it was fun though. So we'd get out to work, and usually we have to we're like seeding and mulching and stuff. So the girls would get all the seed and stuff ready. Me and the teamster would go back to the yard, would load up this trailer. I was complaining about this to the girls too, because they're like, oh, you just ride around with this teamster all day. So I'd be like, well, I was like, I gotta go load up 120 hay bales, straw bales. I was like, and I don't just touch them things once. I was like, I gotta take them out, get in the trailer, throw them off the stack, take them to the end of the trailer. I was like, man, I touched them bales like 4 times before they even get onto the trailer. So I was like, then I got to bring them onto the trailer. If the teamster's not helping me, he usually helped though, but sometimes he'd just chill.
You're just talking about square bales then?
Yeah. So I'm like, man, I touched these things 6, 7, 8 times before I even throw them off the trailer to you guys. So I was like, it's not an easy job. I was like, you guys just think I drive around with the teamster all day. I mean, but yeah, that's pretty much all we did. I mean, sometimes we did like other like maintenance stuff, like fix like random goalposts. We go fix the flags up there. We build approaches on the roads and whatnot.
Okay.
But most of it was just restoration and stuff, pounding stakes. I always had the sledgehammer.
A lot of ribbon, a lot of that stuff going back, keeping each
Yeah.
other grounded.
Yeah.
They say that in Indian country, if they're not teasing you, they probably don't like you.
Yeah. So we always we had this operator that worked with us, and everybody gave him like, we teased him all the
Was he
time.
native?
No, he was a young white dude. And you could tell sometimes he'd get so red. Oh, and the girls would say stuff to him. Like,
I suppose he didn't know how to take it at
yeah,
first,
he didn't know
huh?
how to take it at first. Like, I'm sure he wanted to go to HR a couple times. But then that's what they always said. Well, if we never teased you or talked to you, we wouldn't like you, Nick. So yeah, his name was Nick. So
So he kind of, I suppose he opened up after
opened
that.
up,
He's like,
yeah. He started talking. He started, trying to talk like us, but it sounded a little different coming from him. I always sounded real, so I was like, oh. But yeah, it was fun out there. Yeah.
you're running into him anymore?
Not really, not really. I mean, they go out to the Carmen's every once in a while, but I haven't been there yet. So
Are you talking about over in Fond du Lac?
yeah, they go to Carmen's quite a bit and have breakfast and whatnot.
So does Josh got a start date for you for when you're going to be going up north?
I haven't heard. I haven't really heard yet.
Okay. Let's go backwards a little bit when you talk about how you first got into the laborers union. Did you do an apprenticeship program or anything like that, or
I'm
where'd you
actually
start?
still an apprentice.
Okay.
I started out as a flagging job with KGM up in Angora, Minnesota. It's right outside of Cook there. And my cousin got me that job. I had a different cousin. His name's Aaron. He got me the job. One of my other cousins, like they were drinking, like they were doing midnights. They were doing midnights flagging, and they were drinking on that. While he was drinking on the job, he ended up passing out like at his little station, and he got fired. So my cousin called me, and I was like, "All right, I just had a kid," so I was like, "Oh, I'll go check it out."
Okay.
I mean, it was cool, like the pay was, but flagging is not.
Did you have to do some flagger training too, things like that? Or
No, my cousin was like, just tell him you did this, tell him you did this. And yeah, like, yeah, I didn't get no training or nothing. He told me I learned over the radio, like
Okay.
as we were going, and we were up on like Highway 61. It was busy. Like,
So you must be a quick study though.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah, I learned fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up doing that. And then they didn't really like teach me about the labor union then. I wish I knew back then when I signed up, like all the stuff that they want you to do as an apprentice. Like I just did the job for the summer. Um, didn't pay my dues, didn't do anything. I was like, all right, well, ended up being a manager at the casino for a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, then I got back into the union. So
And you're right now, so you're probably paying your dues and stuff like that right now, and working in towards that union card or trying to get your apprenticeship
yeah,
complete.
I got 121 hours or something to work, and then I'll be a journeyman.
So you're right there,
Yeah, I'm right
knocking on
there,
that
yeah.
door.
Yeah, I just
You know?
got done with like 5 weeks of training. Like I just
And then
been
you'll
going
be
to
looking-
Lino Lakes every week.
Looking at that journeyman pay out right after that, huh?
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody who wants to, get into the laborers union or talking to with a young native, like say, hey man, this might be something you're interested in,
Well, I don't know. I always tell them that it's good, like the retirement, the benefits. Like I just went and got new glasses the other day. Well, not even glasses. I got contact lenses. The health insurance is great. I'm trying to get my nephews and stuff to get in the labor union. They're a little young yet. One of my nephews just got kicked out of Five Skies just this past week. I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
But I mean, I always tell them it changed my life. Being in the union, it's changed my life. Like I don't know. I used to do drugs, smoke weed, everything. I haven't for years now. So
Yeah, those are something I think back about is try to how do we get these younger generation to get involved in stuff like this? We're sitting here talking back and forth, and I know that I got some years under my belt, you got some years under your belt, and Morgan, we all have our responsibilities, and sometimes when you're 19, 18, 20, you don't have a whole lot of responsibilities, and if you don't have those, do you really want to get into something, an apprenticeship program you have to put in, 4,000 hours, 6,000 hours to get your journeyman card. And then you think about it, like, I gotta work over 2,000 hours in a year just to get, to get 1 year done, and I got to do this for 3 years just to be a journeyman. But, you're right there knocking on that door to being a journeyman, and you've got the number of years under your belt already. Whitebird Services is sending you up north with your own crew to run your own crew,
yeah.
and I think this is where, we want the younger generation to take notice that, there's more out there for us. We could do more.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just have to be sitting at home on your PlayStation or say, hey, we got to go to a 4-year school. We got to get our 2-year degree. Or, we can go to an apprenticeship program. We can get involved in the trades because I know people are retiring. Everybody's looking for a job, and everybody wants employees, workers. And as long as you're out there putting in that time, and it sounds like, Ray, I mean, that's what you did, right? You put in that time, you busted ass to get where you are today, and I think it's important, for younger generation to look up to people like yourself, and then I think if you have that opportunity to say, hey, come on over, you're in that position, with that now, especially being a foreman. You're right there.
Yeah.
So I think that's something you need to think about, is that recruitment. How do I get you've done it with your cousin already. Come on up. Let's pass a drug test together.
Yeah.
And I think it's you see the success in it already, and where do you go from there? Do you just keep moving forward?
Well, I mean, I've been trying to do that, like to show my younger relatives that, like not even just my relatives, like my niece's boyfriends. But I mean, like I said, I've learned this from somebody. Like I've seen, my relatives, Joel, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
like I've seen him succeed, go in this construction trade, and make a life for himself. He just bought a house recently, and I was like, damn, I want to do this next.
Yeah.
I can buy a house. So and that's what I'm trying to do. Like I followed, my role models. So I want to be role models for other people too. So and like I said, I grew up with him. He's like my older brother. So like we grew up together, and I followed him down bad paths. I followed him down good paths, and I hope to stay on this good path, and be a role model for my, people that look up to me.
Yeah, and I think that's an important message that you're talking about. You follow people down those bad paths, and you might take your lumps down those bad paths. It doesn't mean that it's the end. Doesn't mean that I can't come back from this. And I think it's important for people to understand that there's a lot more to it. I can bounce back from this. I can come back from this. I can buy my own house. We grew up on the reservation where we're always worried about getting on the housing list.
Yeah.
We get worried about,
Mhm.
where do I land on that list? Heck, man, some of us are going out there and buying our own homes.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And I think that's something that we need to focus on or steer those generations to, and like I said, you're right there. You're right there, and you know it, and how would you get somebody to come on with you, over at Whitebird Services rather than do you have people that you're thinking of right now of crew members up there or recruitment, anything like that?
Well, I kind of do, but then, I got my nephew that just got kicked out of Five Skies is staying with me right now. And he keeps asking me, well, since I got kicked out of this program, I can just come work with you, right? And I'm like, I kind of tell him, like, I was like, well, it's not that easy, man. I was like, I mean, it kind of is, it's about who sometimes.
Right.
But I'm trying to get him to like work for something, like like just this past weekend, I went and stayed with a friend this weekend, and I was like, you can watch my apartment. I was like, I don't want no partying, no women over here. I was like, I got my camera on. I was like, I don't want anybody in my bedroom.
Yeah.
I was like, I come home today, and there's 6 empty half-gallon alcohol bottles in my kitchen, and I told them guys before I left, I was like, no partying. I was like, my downstairs neighbor, they just had a new baby. I was like, there's a newborn baby downstairs. They don't need to hear you guys partying all night. So I get back, and yeah, places, they didn't trash it. They just drank, a lot. And I was like,
Dish out some of that tough love or what?
yeah, I was angry. And I kicked all his friends out, his girlfriend. I was like, you guys all got to go. I was like, I should kick you out too, but I said, I'm not gonna. I was like, but you need to get a job within the next 2 weeks. I don't care where you work at. I was like, you got kicked out of Five Skies. I need you to, be a man, get a job.
Yeah, I
I
think
was like, Super One's right down the corner. You go work there. Like, you got to do something. I was like, you got to prove to me that you can work every day. Because I went to work every day sick. I'd be sick. I didn't feel like going to work.
mhm.
And you got to go to work. Otherwise, Derek Weir's going to get on you. So, And it taught me a lot. And it taught me a lot. You know, he's like, I don't care if you're sick. You know, you can be sick in a truck. Just get your ass to work. You know, something. You know, that made me like think like, you know, I got to go to work every day. Every day, doesn't matter if sick, if I'm puking. You know, people come to work hungover. You know, and they still show up. I don't think I missed a day. I think I missed like 1 or 2 days in the last 2 years working for Whitebird. So
Yeah,
Wow.
but on the flip side of that, you understand the importance of putting in that time, and they recognize that. And, when I talked about that tough love, dishing out that tough love too, and you put those ultimatums on your nephew that, hey, you got to be to work in 2 weeks,
yeah,
and you were held to a certain standard, at your position. Like, you don't feel good, you get to work, and on the same side of that, it's almost like it's on you again too. Like you got to hold them accountable, especially you're gonna be a foreman here, and I think you're ready for that. Um, Whitebird Services sees that you're ready for that. They're ready to put you in that role because you come to work sick already, and you were struggling, or if you weren't having a good day, it doesn't matter, man. You put that hard hat on, you went to work, right?
yeah. And it doesn't matter. Like, you know, you could be having a bad day at home, you know, whether it's, you know, arguing with your, you know, girlfriend or, you know, you have bad days, you know, at home. You know, I still had to get up, go to work, you know, and work hard,
Right.
you know, come home, deal with the other stuff later. I mean, that was tough too, you know, that's tough too. Like, you know, not just like, just other like mental health stuff, you know, you have that stuff going on as well. You know, when I first started, you know, 'cause quit using drugs. Um, I thought I was going crazy. Like just all these emotions are coming back, and I was feeling them. You know, so I thought I was going crazy. Like, so I started talking to these therapists, and that's what they told me. They're like, "Well, you just numbed all that for years. Now you're starting to feel all this." You know, like it was a it was a big change for me. Like
Yeah.
from using to being sober.
Was that a hard step for you to do that?
Yeah, it was. I mean, like, I'm in therapy. Like, I didn't believe in that stuff at first, you know, but then my dad, he's the spiritual advisor for Boys for It. And I talk to him quite a bit, like, talk to him a lot, you know, tells me do this, do that, put out tobacco, you know, do this, go say this, go, you know, put some food by the lake or whatever. But yeah, he helped me through a lot of it. And that's what, you know, that's kind of what I try to live my life by now. You know, I
Okay.
try to be more spiritual and stuff.
Does that play a huge role in your lifestyle right now? That spirituality, our Anishinaabe culture, our lifestyles?
It does, it does. I mean, like I said, I haven't been up north in a long time. Um, the time I do go up there, like I don't do the sweat lodges as often, like with my dad. He's getting old now, so he still does it quite a bit. But like every season, I go up and help him rebuild his Medewan lodge and stuff.
Okay.
You know, haul the tarps up. Like he's getting old, so he can't. You know, he can't haul them big, heavy canvas tarps anymore. You know, he can't sling them over his shoulder like he used to.
But I
So,
suppose he's happy to see you when you come up, though, huh?
oh yeah. Yeah.
Does he get a lot of people come see him too, or?
Yeah, he's got a lot of people come see him. There was times in my life when I doubted that stuff. Like when I went to college at Fond du Lac, for instance, I took this human evolution class. My dad was like, "Don't take that class." I was like, "Well, it's an easy A," you know. I was like, he was like, "Don't take it." He's like, you're gonna start doubting this stuff."
Yep.
And I did. And like I took it, I got an easy A, and I started questioning it, like some of the stuff he was teaching me, or some of the stuff in our culture.
Yeah.
And there'd be times like, you know, like I just didn't care for it at all anymore. Like I, in the back of my mind, like I was like, oh well, it's all nonsense. You know what I mean? Like I don't. It's, you know, that's not what that book just taught me. You know, like it's nothing scientific about, you know, like some of the stuff. But he kept like, my dad kept like, he'd be like, well, hey, come help me with this. There's these guys are coming from Canada, and they're coming to ask about the game of lacrosse. Like, oh, this stuff again. All right, I'll come help you. So these three guys come over to my dad's house, and he pulls out his pipe, he smokes his pipe, and he sings on his drum. Starts singing on his drum. And after he gets done singing, like he points to the sky. He's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "There's something wrong with you. I can feel it. Like you're really sick. You should go to the doctor." And this guy was like, he was like, "Oh, weird, man." He's like, "I didn't tell anybody. I didn't. My wife, nobody knew about this." He's like, "But I went to the doctor before I came here, and I was diagnosed with cancer." And I
Really?
was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, my dad knew these guys, and they're trying to trick me into believing this stuff.
Come back
Like,
around.
yeah.
Come back around the block.
So I was like, but there's numerous things in that he kept doing that made me all right, this stuff's real. So, but
And I think growing up in Anishinaabe, it don't matter. You could be told all of this other stuff, on one side of the coin that when you talk about human evolution and, we all go back home and we always get replanted,
yeah,
and we always get those subtle signs to let us know that, we are people of this land, and, our children come from the stars, they're given to us, they're gifts. And I think at some point, if we lose that, we always come back to it, and I think you found that out,
yeah.
that we always come back. Um, do you feel that Whitebird Services is going to be like the long haul for yourself?
Um, well, I think so. Like, the way it sounds like they're a growing company. I'm hoping to, if all goes planned, all goes well, like I hope to retire from this place. Because he said that they're not just going to be into like the pipeline. They're going into the mines. They're probably going to go into other areas like highway heavy and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm hoping to be there for the long haul. I mean, I always tell Josh, I was like, oh man, it's so awesome working for a Native American company. Like it is like, it's just all the natives that are with you.
Yeah, why don't you talk about that a little bit? Because Whitebird Services is a Native American owned company. Um, it's almost like you almost fell into this position,
Yeah.
with Whitebird Services because you were already in the laborers union. They had a position that opened up, and you start laboring with them on the pipeline. But and you talk about working for them as a native owned company. Like why is that so important?
Because you hardly see like native owned companies. I mean, I've knew of Gordon before, but honestly, I never knew they were a native owned company like Gordon Construction. I never knew that. Um, I don't know. I just like the fact that that they want to employ mostly all Native Americans. Um, and it's just fun being around Native Americans. Like,
Well, yeah.
I mean, you can't joke around like you can with Native Americans. I mean, like we laugh all day at work, and it's fun, like I don't know, it's just yeah, you can't go work at a non-native company and joke around with people like that, they'd probably think I was gay or something,
Ain't calling nobody uncle or auntie
Yeah,
over there.
no, man, and it's like, but you could just the just it makes work fun, like working with all Native Americans, like it just makes work fun, like I look forward to getting up, going to work, and laughing all day. Like, I mean, it's serious. I mean, we work hard and it's serious work, but at the same time, we're like all busting jokes on each
Right.
other.
Did you like have what was your first initial impression when you started with them?
Um,
Like on your first day or you were going to work, you're getting ready, you're suiting up that morning, you're like, I'm going to work for Whitebird Services. What did you expect?
Well, at the mines, I knew it was a Native American company, but when I got to the mines, I was the only Native American that was working. Like the foreman was non-native, the operators were non-native. I was the only laborer. I was the only one native, and the guy that he'd always come down. He was worked for New Range Copper and Nickel. He was like one of the project managers up there. And he'd be asking these white guys like, "Oh, well, what tribe are you from?" He'd be asking them like, so I think he thought we were all natives, like, but we weren't. There, I was like, they were like, "Oh, I'm not Native American. I'm not. I just work for Whitebird." And the foreman there, yeah, he thought we were all Native Americans. And finally, he was like, "Well, where are you from?" I was like, "Oh, I'm from Boys Fort, about 30 minutes away. I grew up about 30 minutes from here." And he was like, "Well, what about these other guys? Are they Native American?" I don't believe so. I was like, I think I'm the only one here right now that's Native American.
Do you think he was truly asking out of curiosity, or do you think it was because he had some other agenda, or that he working with non-natives or anything like that? Or
I'm not sure what he was asking for. I think it had more or less to do with that they wanted tribal members working at New Range Copper and Nickel. Like the people from New Range wanted local tribal people working there with Whitebird. So I think they thought we were all, Native American somehow. But
so this wasn't like so much like an actual like tribal employee rights organization program,
no, I
but
don't think
they
it was. I don't think it was. I think it was just. I think the Josh and them got their foot in the door, and they wanted New Range wanted some local band members to
okay.
be on the crew.
So it was something they outright wanted.
Yeah,
It
I think
wasn't.
I think it was. I'm not quite sure about it, but I think it was
I mean,
because the
that's
guy kept
actually
asking. So
pretty cool on their end though to do that. Especially being up north and having those. You got Boys Fort up there, along with Net Lake, and um, you got Red Lake right down the road.
yeah,
And I think it's important to have those communities. You're right there anyway. We're all neighbors. And we talk about that. Of having that inclusiveness. And I imagine that was something you felt right away. Was you were included, having that
yeah,
inclusiveness?
yeah.
How important is that on a job site? Do you believe?
Um, well, the inclusiveness, I guess. I guess to me, like when I go to a job site, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. Like it does in a way, but I'm there to work. Like I don't, you know, if I guess there's certain jobs where like, well, I guess some of these people like anxiety kicks in,
Right.
well,
I think
for,
some of that comes with us with age, though.
yeah,
Like the older we get, the more we can accept.
yeah,
But then there's a younger generation, or there's those younger ones who are like, they need to be included or be accepted.
yeah,
And that's what I was kind of, talking about is how important is that? I think not just for yourself, but for the company and the whole workforce job site as a whole. I think, what does that look like? Is that something you want to focus on being a foreman? You know, how are you going to, I guess, navigate that realm once you get there?
um, well, I don't know. When I was, I do would like to have like all Native Americans, just like Whitebird is. I mean, like all the way from the operators to the laborers to, you know, and when I was a manager I was a banquet manager at Fortune Bay, and my department was only like, I think we had like I had 20 employees. All of them were band members except one, and the other one was, he was from like Leech Lake or something. And my department was the only one like that. Like everybody wanted to work there. It was fun. Like we set up weddings, we did concerts, we
Yeah.
did, and everybody wanted to work there. And I took pride in that, like, wow, I did this. Like, I started out as a server, and I worked my way up to the manager job, and yeah, I hope to bring this, them skills to Whitebird, some leadership skills. I do want all. I mean, I can't say I want all Native Americans because there's not a lot of not Native Americans that are operators. Like, I think all our operators are non-native, like all of them on Whitebird. So I mean, but it would be nice to
Right.
push like my nephew. Like, if he had a license, he could go. They're looking for operators
Yeah.
at the 49ers. You just need a license. You gotta go down there and learn some things. But it'd be nice to.
I mean, just listening to you talking about, your life experiences in your past employment, and what you learned along the way, the knowledge you've gained, it almost sounds like Josh has made a right decision, by tapping you and say, hey, about time for you to run your own crew up north. Um, are you excited?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. A little scared too. Like, I'm a little scared. Like,
Let's talk
uh,
about that a little bit. Like what do you think? What actually scares you?
um, not knowing everything. Like, if they give me a job and be like certain things just scare me.
Do you
Like,
have a plan of navigating?
oh
Of saying
yeah,
if
yeah.
I don't know, like what am I gonna do if I don't know?
Well, I don't know. That's why I've been taking these trainings. Like I even before we went to he told me about it. I've been doing these trainings and I've been going everywhere. Like, do concrete over here, down there this week. Did pipeline. I did highway heavy. I did some lining grading. Did some lining grading too. Me and my brother are gonna go back and learn GPS. So I'm trying to learn a little bit more before this even comes up. So if I maybe we do have to grade some roads or we do have to do some concrete, I'm gonna, know a little bit of it on top of what I already know. Like,
Right.
so I'm trying to I'm planning on going back for a few more weeks before.
So you're filling your basket as much as you
Yeah,
can, and I think that's the right approach. I think that's the right approach.
uh,
You talked about a little bit about being Anishinaabe and being Ojibwe from this area. We know that the Creator sends us down here to this earth to learn as much as we can to be a good a good Anishinaabe male or a good Anishinaabe Kwe. And we learn as much as we can, and that's our job as we're here is to learn before we get called home. And I think you realize that, and that, and you're prepping yourself as much as you can right now to fill that role with Whitebird Services and be a good foreman. But not only that, you also outside of that, you're a good role model as an Anishinaabe male, an Ojibwe male. And I think your nephew back at home sees that and will recognize that. And I think you'd already dished out that tough love, and you'll be ready, in 2 weeks, maybe 2 months down the road, maybe you'll be part of your crew a year down the road, because of what you said last night or this morning,
yeah,
and I think some of that stuff will resonate with him. But not only that, people within your own circle is important too. Um, what's going to happen after today? Where are you going? What are you doing now?
what am I doing today after today?
Not only that, I mean, with yourself,
Um,
with, you sounds like you got some time. You're laid off right now.
well, I was gonna do some more training, but eventually in the future, like after seeing my cousin's home, I've been looking into buying a home. Um, yeah, that's what I want. I want my own home. Like, I don't mind living on the res, but I want to live down here, like
Mm-hmm.
in Duluth or on the outskirts of Duluth or Cloquet or something. But all my work's down here. Um, well, according to Josh, it might be up at the mines, but I'd still live down here though. But
You feel comfortable living around Duluth, Cloquet area, driving
Yeah.
back and forth, back
Yeah.
up north
Yeah.
is cool with you?
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
mind that at all?
No, I don't mind that. I didn't like living up there on the Iron Range. I don't know. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind living on the reservation, but I like it down here. Duluth's grown on me, so
Good.
I live near the lake walk. I've been trying to exercise, so I bought a couple dogs that I don't have them anymore. I gave them away, so but I bought them to like, well, these guys are gonna get me to go to a lake walk. I bought a French bulldog. I literally had to drag him like he
didn't want to
go for
exercise
walks.
at all.
Yeah, he didn't want to go. So
That's it. You bought a French bulldog. You got to buy like a husky or something.
yeah,
You know.
I gave him away. I gave him to my parents. So yeah, I was like, this guy ain't gonna help me get off the couch.
What do you do outside besides like your laboring job, and what do you like to do for fun outside of that? I think it's important for us to have that lifestyle, have a lifestyle outside of just our 9 to 5s. What does it look like for Ray after that? After you punch that clock?
I like to go home. I like to cook dinner. I go to the YMCA. I just started going there a few months ago. Getting back into shooting around basketball and stuff. I go, yeah, I don't
A little
know.
hooper or what?
Yeah, I can
Yeah?
hoop. Yeah,
Busting ankles down there, or busting your own?
Yeah, I haven't busted mine yet. I get kind of worried about that too. I was like, man, I can't be doing this. I can't be running games like this, especially if I got to go back to work. So a lot of it now too is like trying to take care of myself, like because a lot of the old laborers that I worked with are like that. You're a laborer, you have to take care of your body. Like you can't, be doing dumb things like,
That
skateboarding, basketball, breaking your ankle or something. It's like your body is what needs to be in shape, but you can't just be reckless with it. So
right, it pays the bills, right?
yeah,
So you got to take care of it.
yeah.
But you recognize that too, and you said, I'm exercising a little bit. I think in the end, it'll assist in your longevity, your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then we all need that exercise, no matter what. Even if we got to drag our dogs off the couch.
Yeah.
Besides, just going to the Y, cooking dinner and going to work every day, how do we get being in the laborers union? How do you go from job to job to job? Because just listening to you, the laborers union seems like it's like that one union that almost encompasses every aspect of laboring. Whether I'm getting at, like, we'll say the painters and tapers union.
Yep.
Whether you got a taper in there just slinging mud, you got a painter, all they're doing is laying paint. Go to the iron workers, they're just welding. Things like operators, they're jumping in dozer, or they're operating those cranes. Laborers,
We do everything.
you do everything.
Yeah,
right?
we do everything. We do everything that nobody else wants to do. That's how they put it. That's what they always tell us during the labor union meetings.
Those are the key words.
Yeah.
That stuff that nobody wants to do.
Yeah.
And you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Is it hard to go from job to job, doing something different?
No, it's pretty. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Like I don't mind it. Well, when I was switching from job to job like that, I mean, I thought it was some jobs were tougher than others. We're out at the Spirit Lake Restoration before I got onto Whitebird, and that job was like we had these little burlap bags, and we just filled them up with rocks, tied them up. That was it all day long, and we got paid like big bucks to do that. And it was so boring, like it felt like prison or something.
Really?
But it was like, but they took those bags and they put these little plants in there, you know, and put more rocks in there and then dropped them into the lake and restored the Spirit Lake out there. So I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, some of that, like, in a way, it felt good, you know, to like same when we're doing the restoration and we're seeding the grass out there. Like it felt good, like we're doing something like almost like I don't know, I guess you could say kind of like hippie-ish, like oh, I'm planting seeds, you know, replanting the earth, or you know, replanting seaweeds in a lake, you know, aquatic plants and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's.
But it was rewarding in a
It was
way.
rewarding. I don't know if that's the Anishinaabe in me or whatever that
Felt it.
like
Hitting that little tuning fork inside you, just like every time you hear the language spoken, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if that was it, but it always felt good, you know, like, and we'd be messing around with like out on the right away when I'd be seeding with the girls, and you know, I'd grab a handful of seed. And, this one's for Fond du Lac. This is for Boys Fort, you know. Like, I'm like, shut up, Ray. Oh, you're dumb, you know. But yeah.
So, you know, any job site, any job can be different. You know, no matter where you're going, it's just a matter of what you make it. Is what you.
Yeah.
Is what I guess in the end is what you're saying. And you know, wherever we're going, whether it's tonight, tomorrow, and the next day, you know, it is what we make it. You know, and I think Ray Bauche right there is saying we're gonna do the best no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, wherever you go,
we're gonna have fun too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they always tease me too. Like, you're like never mad. You're always showing your teeth at work. You're always smiling. Like how come you're always smiling? I was like, I don't know. It's just something I do. I just like to have fun. I like to make people laugh. I like to, you know, be funny.
Yeah. Ray, we're coming up towards the end here. Is there any final thoughts or any final words that you want to close us out with?
I don't know. Just want, everybody to work hard out there. I want to thank the Whitebird Services, Tom, Derek, Josh, all Clayton, Amy. They've all taught me, like, you know, I learned from all of them. Junior, all the foremans, all the straws out there. Yeah, learned from all of them. So just want to thank all of them for, you know, helping me on my way. So
people are going to be looking at this podcast and listening, and you know, they're going to want to know more about Ray Bauche. Yeah, Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. Get some friend requests here after this. When this hits the waves.
You know, I just watched Joe Dirt. He's like, in the saga of Joe Dirt, we'll be back tomorrow.
So what do you think, Joe Dirt? You got a Facebook?
Yeah, I got Facebook. I got Instagram. Oh yeah, it's under Ray Bauche. I got my OnlyFans out there too.
Oh wow!
No, I'm just kidding.
Subscriptions even? Like what?
No, I don't got OnlyFans. I'm just messing around.
Only uncles. That's a good one. All right, that. We'll end on that note. Be sure to subscribe and follow Ray when you get a chance, and we'll catch you on the flip.
Thanks for coming out, Ray.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Oh, miigwech.
Thanks for joining us in the middle of the Res Road. Follow the show for more insights from the industry, stories of success, and guests as we share our culture and language. Follow the show and connect with us over social media as well. And if you would like to join us on the show, or if there's a certain subject you would like to hear more about, please let us know. You can connect with us by clicking the contact link below or send us a message on social media. Make sure to send this episode to a friend who could benefit from today's topic, and don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Thanks for listening, and next time, we'll meet you in the middle of the Res Road.